The topic of this session is Al tistakel bakankan ela b'ma sheyesh. Don't look at the external vessel to judge, just look what's inside. This is purpose of this week. So the Mishnah really explained that, going on to explain, Yesh kankan chadash maleh hashan, there is a jar of wine. The outside look like just new wine. New wine is less kosher, less important. But inside there is a better wine. And the opposite. Sometimes you have an old jar, and you think, oh, this is an old wine. But surprisingly enough, this is a new wine, and even nothing inside. So this is the very simple meaning of that Mishnah. And I would like to take it on a deeper meaning, based on Ben Ish Chai. Ben Ish Chai, anybody heard the name Ben Ish Chai? Ben Ish Chai was a Rav in Iraq about 120 years ago, and he wrote the Sefer Ben Ish Chai. And the Ben Ish Chai takes a very deep meaning of this Mishnah. The Ben Ish Chai says, do you know what's kind? I'm going to recap just for a few minutes. We're talking about the Mishnah Yesh. Al tistakel b'kankan ela b'ma sheyesh. But don't look at the external vessel. Look what's inside. So we taking upon the Ben Ish Chai, which explained in this week's parsha that the kankan is really the guf, and the inside is the neshama. And he goes on to explain that really the neshamas of the previous generations, who were, so to say, the Rishonim, the previous people, are the most important neshamas. And the neshamas that people lived after is less important. And this is basically the topic that we're going to speak about. But before that, we'll continue from this point with an interesting Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Kuf Beis Amud Aleph. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says like that. Rav Ashi was teaching. Anybody familiar with the name Rav Ashi? Rav Ashi was a Amoira. What's Amoira? One of the teachers in the Gemara. Rav Ashi was teaching the Talmidim, and he ended up the Shir saying, we end up today teaching this halacha, and tomorrow we're going to speak about our friends who do not have a portion to the world to come. This is the end of the story, the end of the shir, and at that night Rav Ashi experienced something very great. Who is the friends that he was speaking about? Three melachim. Menashe, let's start with that. Yerovam ben Nevat. Anybody heard the name Yerovam ben Nevat? Ach of Melech Yisrael, and Menashe Melech Yehuda. I'm just want you to connect to these people who lichora ended up without Chelek Lo Elam Haba. Chazal tells us that Menashe Melech Yehuda was teaching Toras Kohanim, which is the most difficult halachas, 55 different ways. Ach of Melech Yisrael, who was worshipping idols, was teaching Toras Kohanim, which is the most difficult halachas, 85 different ways. He was a tremendous Talmid Chacham. And Yerovam ben Nevat, he was such a great individual. He was teaching Teres Kohanim 103 different ways. We're talking about here giants. So at that night, Rabbi Ashi get a visit. At night, we're talking about Chaloimus. He get, I'm not sure how to classify that as a Choloim, as a vision. Menashe Melech Yehuda came to him and he told him, Ravashi, did you call me your friend? Am I your friend or your father's friend? If so, tell me the halacha, how you cut challah when you eat a moitzi, how you cut the challah. Like something, halacha is like, who knows this halacha anyway? And it's what's the importance of this halacha. So Rav Ashi didn't know. Says, I don't know. What's the halacha? How you should cut the challah. So he says, you don't know this halacha and you call me a friend? So if happened to me, I would lose my mind. But Rav Ashi didn't lose his mind. Rav Ashi said to him, okay, I don't know. Can you teach me? And I'll teach it tomorrow in your name. So he explained to him that the challah you cut from the portion that get baked first. Thank you, Rabbi Menashe. Tomorrow, Rav Ashi went to Beis HaMedrash and he says, Rabbi Yisai, I made a mistake yesterday. I called him my friend. He's not my friend. He is my Rabbi. And here is the halacha. He's teaching us how to cut the bread from the portion that get baked first. Okay. This is the simple, so to say, story that the Gemara tells us. And we have to understand few things. Firstly, what kind of halacha he's asking? Where you find so many halachas, important halachas. Why is starting with such a unimportant, so to say, halacha? How to cut the bread? Number one. Secondly, what's the significance of this halacha? Thirdly, I want to ask you. This is the Maharsha. This is not the Maharsha says like. What is going on? Let's understand the brachas, birkas hanehenim, right? So we have simple. If you want mezonos, boire mine mezonos. Besami boire mine besami. Boire moiresh. Boire. You come to a bread, no boire. Hamoitzi lechem minaretz. What kind of bracha is that? Hamoitzi. Firstly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not moitzi lachem min haaretz. You go. The ladies went baked, and the ladies moitzi lachem min haaretz, not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Number one. Number two, why this Birkas Halechem is such a strange bracha? Why it's not following the normal bracha of Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, boire min hamzonos, boire pri ha'etz, boire. Okay, so let's try to make Seder in all our shaylas. Firstly, let's recap for the benefit of people who came late. We spoke about Al tistakel b'kankan ela ma sheyesh bo. Kankan means the jar. Ma sheyesh bo means the ingredients inside. We spoke about the Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai says it doesn't talk about only the pshat yayin. It's talk about the guf and the neshama. Kankan means the guf. The neshama means the inside. So the Ben Ish Chai conclude, you should know, the neshamas of the Rishonim were so chashuv, so important. And this is the kankan. After we spoke about Rav Ashi teaching Torah in his yeshiva, and he concluded the shir that tomorrow we're going to speak about our friends who shloisha melachim who doesn't chelak lo elom haba, and he said he said, who were the Yerovam ben Nevat, Ach of Menashe. We spoke about the greatness of these people. Chazal tells us that Menashe was teaching Toras Kohanim, 55 different ways, the most difficult halachas. And Achav, who was, Chazal tells us, was a shokul, he was teaching Toras Kohanim 85 different ways. And Yerovam ben Nevat, who doesn't have chelk, that the Russia, the Yerovam ben Nevat, Choytu Machti, 103. So Rashi asked him, Menashe, you were so great. How can you doing with the Zorah? Tell me, how can you do such a stupidity? Anybody gonna take today with the Zorah? What did he do? Menashe took a piece of stone, copper, nechoshes, and put it in Beis Hamikdash. And said, this is your God. How can you do Avodah Zorah? It is so great. He answered Ravashi. And this is, the Maharal explained the answer. Ravashi, you conclude that we worship Avodah Zorah as a Chochmah. We compared the Chochmah Satorah to Chochmah Avodah Zorah. Nothing to do with it. We had Yetzer Hara, simple Yetzer Hara, uncontrollable Yetzer Hara. If you would be alive in my generation, they used to go with gowns. You will gonna pick up your gowns, put it in your mouth, and run to serve Avodah Zorah because it's uncontrollable. You can't control yourself. It was such a hard one. We all know that after, when Chachamim came back in the beginning of Bais Sheni, they said to Rabbi Shalom, we set to fail. It's not going to happen. You must help us to dismantle the Avodah Zorah of the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zorah. And ever since then, the Nevuah, so to say, reduced, was taken away. We don't have any more Nevuah. We have Roch HaKodesh, we have Chaloim, we have all kinds of... But Nevuah per se stopped at that time of second Beis Hamikdash when Sanhedrin, when Chacham and Anshe Knesset Sagdal said to Rabbi Shalom, we said to fail, we're not going to make it. It's not going to happen. You got to help us. And then the old description, the line of a fire was coming out, and the put of that. Today, we look at Avodah Zorah like something insane. I was in a store, in Toronto there is many Chinese and stuff like that. And I was in Chinese, he is the storekeeper, and in front of my eyes he takes a melon and put it to the little idol, plastic, with a light. And he get into it. You look at it, it's insane. So today, for us, it's, by the way, this is the Yetzer Hara today. We have such a Yetzer Hara today. So I would like to speak a little bit about Menashe, Melech Yehuda, about what he was, and how we came to this. To Menashe Melech Yehuda, as we all know, he was the son of the great Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda was the son of Achaz Melech Yehuda. Achaz he had a reign of 12 years. Rosha Merusha. He destroyed the Mizbeach, put the fire off, and terrible things. Even he wanted to kill his own son, Chizkiah. And the Gemara says that his mother, Chizkiah's mother, was saving him from the fire, whatever it is. So Chizkiah was a great tzaddik. And Lashon Apostle, Kloikam Kamoyu, Melech Boiteach B'Hashem, was never before a king. He was such a great trust in Rabbi Shalom. Chizkiah was living in a very difficult time for Klal Yisrael. Sancheir, Melech Ashur, was about to conquer Eretz Yisrael. He took already most of the 10 tribes, and who left? Only Yehuda, Binyamin, and a few others. And we all know that Leila Seder, Pesach night, was the big nace that Sancheir's army was dismantled, was killed, with big nace. And the Navi described the day before, they did not have what to eat, they didn't have an army, they didn't have anything, but they had only Bitachon B'Hashem. And Baruch Hashem, they kept through. Chizkiyahu HaMelech, as you all know, refused to get married. He didn't want to get married. Why didn't he want to get married? Because he saw in Ruach HaKodesh that his child going to be Menashe, and Menashe going to be very, very bad king. Who needs it? So he refused to get married. And Ba'esai Cholo Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda Vayomer Lo Yeshayahu Tzav Leveischo Ki Meis Ato V'Lo Yisichye. At the time, Chizkiyahu became sick, and the Navi came to him, and the Navi told him, write your will, because Meis Ato, you're going to die here. V'Lo Yisichye Lo Elam Habo. You finish. You finish. What? Because you refuse to get married. He said, I refuse to get married. You know why I refuse to get married? Because I know what's the outcome. He says, it's not your business. Meaning, if you're not going to get married, we won't have Mashiach. You stop the chain of the people coming from David. If you won't get married, we won't have Mashiach. It's not your business. You just do what you have to do. You get married. So he told him, so can you give me your daughter? So your schus and my schus, by the way, they were cousins, right? Amoitz and Amatzia, they were cousins. Yeshaya Navi and Chizkiyahu HaMelech were cousins. So he says, your schus, my schus, maybe going to come something good. So he says, too late. Too late. כבר נגזר הגזר. אומר לו, בן אmoitz, כלה נבואסך וצא. Finish your nevuah, because you have to say it, and get out of here. I don't want to hear you. Why? Because kach mekublanu beis avi abba, from David HaMelech. Afilu cherev chado munachas tzvoro shel adam, even a sword, sharp sword, munachas tzvoro shel adam, al yisyesh munachas. Don't give up. Always daven. So I'm davening. And he started davening. Yeshaya did not have enough time to leave the palace, and came back, because Baruch accepted your tefillah, and you're on. Fine. Take my daughter. Got there. Chazal tells us that he made sure to take his two children, Rav Shakeh and Menashe, two children born to Chizkiyahu HaMelech, Menashe and Rav Shakeh. That Chazal tells us that he was so careful to keep them away from any outside influence that he, the king himself, carpooled them every day to the cheder on his shoulder, and no outside influence, nothing I'm taking. One day he hears the two children talking. We don't have a minute with. He doesn't let us a minute. We must do something with this. We're going to do it. You know what? Tomorrow we're going to take something. On his head, we're going to put David Zorah. And Chazal tells us that he was so angry with them, he threw them down. What did he do? And Rav Shakeh died. Menashe remained. Menashe became king.
Why did
Rav Shakeh died.
I didn't hear. Why did he die?
The father threw them down. Oh. And from this, Rav Shakeh
died. He killed his own son?
Yes. He died.
Okay.
And Menashe remained. Menashe took office when he was 12 years old. Ben 12 shana. Menashe ben Molchoi. V'shem imoy chiftzibo. As soon as he took the office, in his 12th year, he killed his own grandfather, Yeshaya HaNavi. He did horrible things. Through 22 years, the first 22 years of his reign, he not just dismantled, destroyed all what was in Yehuda, and he brought away the Zorah, and everybody was there. They were happy with what they did. After 22 years, Vayikocheu Melech Ashur B'chat Chotim. Melech Ashur took Menashe to Bavel B'chat Chotim. B'chat Chotim means chains. And he put Menashe in a huge copper pot that little holes down, and he put a little fire outside on a copper, and Menashe was standing there barefoot, and he couldn't stand because it was too hot to stand. So he was jumping inside and saying, the Gemara says, the Medrash says, he's saying, all the Avodah Zorah you worship. This Avodah Zorah saved me, this Avodah Zorah saved me, this Avodah Zorah saved me, all the Avodah Zorah. He came to, that's it, nobody saved. He came to say, you're the last one, upon you. If you won't save me now, I know you like everybody else. But if you save me now, I promise you I can do tshuva. He took him, a wind came, and he flew him out of Bovel to Yerushalayim, back to his throne. And Menashe started, after 22 years, Menashe started a period of 33 years b'tshuva. His reign was 55 years. And he's starting now at 33 years b'tshuva. He took it so seriously. He sent soldiers to every house. No more Avodah Zorah. Destroyed Avodah Zorah. He renovated somewhat. Beis Hamikdash. And he's trying to send soldiers to bring everybody to do tshuva. But the tshuva was not so accepted. People like it a lot, the Avodah Zorah. So what do we see from here? We see from here, oh, thank you so much. We see from here, firstly, Menashe is not a regular king who did Avodah Zorah, who did story and stuff like that. Menashe did tshuva. Most of his life was b'tshuva, because 33 years compared to 22 years, 33 years of his reign was b'tshuva. Now, try to understand what Menashe tells. What Menashe tells Rabbi.
So can I ask something? How is it possible that God wanted that righteous Chizkiah, who should have a son, who is doing Avodah Zorah?
Very good. I'll tell you. I remember Rabbi Abramsky, Zecher Tzadik Lebracha. Do you know? Did you hear the name Rabbi Abramsky? Rabbi Abramsky was Gadol during the time of the Chofetz Chaim. And the Chofetz Chaim was coming from Siberia. After he was based in London, after he was in Eretz, so Abramsky was one of the Gdolim in the British generation. Rabbi Abramsky had a son, a koifer go. Koifer. He was teaching in university in Moscow. Now, I was a little bit around Rabbi Abramsky, and he said, when you have such a great man, you're going to think, okay, this is obviously the children of this great person are going to be great.
Okay, at least it's not so great, but not the exact opposite. But
yeah, obviously it was a gzeira. You see, because Chizkiah knew it before that this boy going to be bad. So why HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes with such gzeiros? I don't know. We don't know why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is planning certain things, but see, in this case, exactly what we're talking about. Rabbi Ashi said, how can you do it? He says, you don't understand the reality.
yes,
You don't understand the reality. You would do the same in our time. Now, we're going to try to understand why and what. Menashe told Ravashi. He was hinting to him. This is the Marsha explanation of why he's speaking about Metzia Sabbat. He's telling him like that. you understand that you compare three people that nothing to do with each other? Why I'm in the same boat together with Yerovam ben Nevat and Aharon? I did tshuva. What's Chavereinu? Why are you calling me together with him? I'm not part of it. You see, Hamoitzi lechem min haaretz, it's a different bracha than the rest of Birkas Hanani. It's a different bracha. Now he tells him, I want you also to understand that me, Menashe, I did tshuva. Now, let's understand what happened. Why we're saying a moitzi lechem min haaretz. Really, Rebbeinu Shalom gave Kolel, curse, the earth, v'koitz v'dardo tatzmiach la. You're not going to get anything out of that, right? You're not going to get anything. But Lemaisa, we do have today everything. Why? Because we did tshuva. You too have to understand that I did tshuva. So compare me to the bread. Now the earth bringing out something worthwhile. Now, we have to understand there is three different words to creation. There is Yetzira, there is Beria, there is Asiya. Yetzira means creation. Creation yesh me'ayin. It's only Rabbi Shalom can do. Bria means composition. You compose, you take this material, and this material, so you take water, you take sugar, you take flour, and you compose, the composition comes a bread, a mezonos, whatever. And there is asiya. Asiya means it's a lower grade. That you plan to do something and you do it, but everything is ready already. You just put it together. You just put it together. You're not even creating anything. You just make nice table, and on a nice table you have fruits and you have mezonos and you have chocolate and whatever. So you put it together. You're not doing it. When we say maybe we're going to mamtik this with a medrash. There's a medrash. Shalom atoniso es Rabbi Akiva. It's also to nusrufus ha'asha as Rabbi Akiva. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be mal, to do bris milah, to circumcise, so let us born without orla. Let us born that way. What did he answer her? What did he answer her? He answered her that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted us to, he asked her, which maisim is more chashuv? Maisim of Rebbeinu Shalom or maisim of Hashem? Of maisim of Bnei Adam? Rebbeinu Shalom deeds or human deeds? So she said Rebbeinu Shalom. He says, no, our maisim. Asher bara Elokim lasos. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created for us to do. Zog the Maral. This is the whole discussion of Menashe with Ravashi. He says, you should know that we did not have any chokhmah b'des, and we are different, and we did our averos, and you would have done the same thing. And the hamoitzi lechem min haaretz is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu so to say, gave a second chance to the earth, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a second chance to me. I was chozer b'tshuva. I did what the earth did. Therefore, I'm giving you the hint. Hamoitzi lechem min haaretz. I'm different. Don't include me with this chevra. Number one. Number two. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates something, HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates yesh me'ayin, but it is for us to do. So we do tshuva, we're creating ourselves. Number three, we're the important part of the bread that you have to cut from the beginning. Beginning, zog the Ben Ish Chai. Beginning, the neshamas of the earlier neshamas are more chashuv. So you, Menashe, with all the respect due, we were more chashuv than you. Al tistakel b'kan kan, ela b'ma sheyesh bo. We, the Doros HaRishonim, are much more chashuv than your generation. And if you would be in our generation, forget about it, you would not be able to stand anything. So, al tistakel b'kan kan, ela b'ma sheyesh bo. We, our neshamas, are much more chashuv. I think the limud that we have to take from here, in our generation, that everybody is going crazy with the Yetzer Hara, the nisyonos of this generation. I'm teaching youth, right? High school girls. The high school girls today has such a nisyonos, and even not high school. Even I'm looking at my married children, how they raise the children. There is no innocent anymore. No, nobody's innocent. They know everything. They can access everything. Today, the smartphones, the internet, everything is accessible, and you can reach everything and anything. As somebody says, you have Malchanovus in your pocket. You have Yetzer Hara in your pocket. You can do anything. And if we will not tell ourselves what Menashe told Rav Ashi, this is Yetzer Hara. You gotta understand it's nothing. But you have to fight this Yetzer Hara. If you won't fight the Yetzer Hara, but this Yetzer Hara, you don't understand it today, after so many generations, because you don't have this Yetzer Hara. One day the Mashiach is going to come. And the Mashiach is going to take off all this Yetzer Hara. And we're going to look such a foolish on ourselves. How can you do such a thing? And this is what the Gemara in Sukkah saying. That the time HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take away the Yetzer Hara, the tzaddikim going to be boichim and the rashaim going to be boichim. The tzaddikim will be boichim, why? From happiness. Such a big mountain, how we were able to conquer it, to overcome. And the rashaim will be boichim. They're going to see, such a nothing, such a stupidity. How will we be so stupid to let it go, to not to find it? This is the lesson that Menashe Melech Yehuda is teaching us. This is Al Tistaken Balkankan Mashiach. This is where Rav Ashi comes back next day and he said, my dear Talmidim, I made a mistake yesterday. They were great people. But Menashe was able to compose back himself and to do tshuva and to come back and to say, I'm sorry, I did something bad, but from now on, it's not going to happen. This is the reason, Omar Rabbi Yehuda, Kol ha'omer and Menashe and lo yichelek lo elom habo noyel deles b'fnei Baal Tshuva. The one who said that Menashe don't have chelek lo elom habo, shut the door before Baal Tshuva. Why? Because Menashe, when he did tshuva at that time, Malachi Ashos came to Rabbi Shalom and said, Rabbi Shalom, this is not tshuva. This is why he's give you a threat. I'll do tshuva only if you take me. This is tshuva. Oh, it says in the Pasuk, Vayator lo atiru. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, because Malachi Ashos was stopping the tshuva from coming. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, he in Lashon HaKodesh is so beautiful. Vayachtor lo chatiro. Zol Chazal mechila. Mechila means tunnel under Kisei HaKovod. Do you hear the word mechila? Tunnel under Kisei HaKovod. Do you hear that mechila? Mechila, slicha, kapara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him mechila. Mechila means a tunnel. Mechila means forgiveness. Under Kisei HaKovod, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him mechila. So great. This is the Koach of Baal Shuvah. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good Shabbos.